Every county of our state has this person, a person who's sworn to protect the citizens and the Constitution, a person entrusted to protect all of us from the evils of crime, a person who maintains law and order, a person who's the chief law enforcement officer. That person is your local sheriff, and this is the Sheriff Show.
Welcome to the first ever edition of the Sheriff Show. Today we've got Garvin County Sheriff Jim Mullett. I'm your host, Robert Brooks, and today we're going to talk just a little bit about some of the things that's been going on at the Sheriff's Office over the past years. We're going to talk about some recent activities, and then once we get all that past us, we're going to talk, hopefully, we're going to talk a new tax to help with our detention facility. Sheriff, welcome to the show.
Yes.
And on behalf of local media and the citizens of Garvin County, I want to say I appreciate you taking the time to do this. Something we've been talking about for a long time, and it's finally come to fruition. And hopefully this is going to be something that we can do every month. We're going to be out beating the bushes over the next few weeks, try to get some sponsors and make this a monthly deal.
Sounds great.
And, I'm excited about some of the ideas that you've pitched to me. So I'm like a horse at the races. I'm ready to jump out the gate. And we've got a lot of good ideas. And I think it's going to be fun.
We could sit here and talk for hours if we had to. I know that we got time restraints, so this is going to be a good time. This is really good.
Yeah, and before we get started, I'd also like to thank our sponsors, the ones that we already have and the ones that we're going to have. And I'd like to thank Alana and the girls here at Hot Mess Coffee for allowing us to record our show here. We were going over some of these stats, and it looks like the old sheriff's office has changed since my days. You guys have booked 800. Am I reading this right?
Yes.
824 inmates since the first of the year.
Yes. So we're looking at about a 6-month period where we've booked in about 824 people. If you average that out, that's about almost 4.5 people a day that we're booking in on a 24-hour days.
Even on the holidays.
Even on the holidays. So we are constantly busy. We're doing some really good work out there today, since for a while we've been doing good work, but that shows how busy that we've actually been staying busy.
Absolutely, and it shows that you filed 471 reports, and there's been 993 warrants issued. Now, I'm looking at that. You've the 471 reports. That's a lot.
Yes.
But then also there's a whole lot of warrants now for the folks that are tuned in and watching. Those are warrants also that from incidents that are taken from other agencies as well. You don't just get the warrants for just the sheriff's office. The judge issues all the warrants. Am I correct?
That's correct. The way that it works is that the judge will get a probable cause affidavit, goes to the DA's office, and then they screen it, and then they submit it to the judge, and she issues the warrant. What that number signifies is that we're staying busy with not only us but with the cities, but those warrants come to my office, and 90% of those are the ones that we serve. We will go out and actually serve that warrant, arrest that person on those warrants, and so it's definitely keeping us busy also as with warrant service as well.
Right now, Sheriff, I don't want to get too far ahead of into the show, but one thing that I need to ask you about too, I'm not familiar, and certainly I'm sure some of the folks watching are not familiar. I've noticed that you had 824 inmates booked into your jail. Do you also hold inmates for some of the cities in the county? I know that's something that you guys had talked about, but I didn't know if that ever shook out or.
No, that's an excellent question. So yes, Garvin County is the only. There in Pauls Valley, Garvin County Sheriff's Office has got the only jail in the county. Now we've got holding facilities, like Lindsay's got a holding facility, Pauls Valley's got a holding facility, but they can only hold somebody up to 12 hours. So anything after that, they've got to bring them to our jail. So we not only take in the cities, all the city, but we also take in in any kind of OHP cases, any drug task force cases. The Light Horse, they're very active in our county, so we'll hold them. DOC, we're holding DOC inmates, and we're also holding some immigration. So with all those, we're booking in quite a bit, and our staff is busy.
So they're saying, Sheriff, it's your responsibility to take care of these people.
That's
right?
exactly right. Exactly right. They arrest them and they drop them off to us, and we house them and we take care of them. And I think we do a very good job. The last inspection that we had, the health inspector came in and jail inspection, and they looked at our jail. They were there, I would say, over 2.5 hours looking for anything, and he wrote a report and submitted it to the state saying that we were above a standard, and with 0 deficiencies in our jail in this last turnaround. So I thought that was very, very, very good and very commendable to our hardworking detention staff that we have.
Absolutely. And as we move on, there's a couple of things. 55 protective orders that you've served, but a total of 359 papers. Now, a lot of folks don't realize this, but the sheriff has a very unique responsibility in the county of serving papers. So for this first show, if you don't mind, explain to the people, what are we talking about when we're serving papers?
Yeah, so we are tasked for serving not only civil papers such as simple as going out and having somebody being evicted, those kind of papers, all the way up to lawsuits that are sent to us, and then also any subpoenas. So any of those kind of papers that we have, a lot of the civil suits that we have that we're tasked with serving those papers. Not only that, but the protective orders. That's 55. That's not counting that 359 there. So we're tasked with that, and we've got almost 900 square miles in Garvin County. So those papers could be pretty much anywhere from Lindsay all the way to Stratford to Wynnewood to Hennepin. So we're constantly out there serving these papers, and it takes a lot of time and it takes a lot of dedication to get them served.
And a lot of gas.
And a lot of gas. That is correct. Yes, yes.
So the next thing we want to talk about, when we're going to take a quick break, but then when we come back, we're going to talk about your internet crimes against children cases and your patrol deputy.
Yes, yeah. So we're excited about those two things. Yes,
absolutely. So we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back.
The Sheriff Show is a powerful tool that bridges the gap between law enforcement and our community. As a local advertiser, you will be helping fill that gap. Local advertising helps businesses like yours increase awareness, attract customers, increase sales, maintain a positive image, and provide measurable results. Let us help you unleash the power of local advertising for your business.
We are at the I almost forgot there for a second, Hot Mess Coffee Company here in Lynn. That's a lot
That's a lot to put in.
I think I had too much coffee before we started the show, and it's got me all tongue-tied.
Love it.
But Jim, or Sheriff, I'm sorry.
You're fine. You're fine.
Well, we got to be official when we're on the show.
Yeah, you're fine. You're fine.
And one of these days we'll tell the backstory. I know we've told it before on air, but one of these days on your show we'll tell the backstory about how
it's a good story. Yes,
absolutely. And but one of the things that I am most proud of you for doing is the internet crimes against children.
Yes.
Emphasis. I know it's a hot topic nationally, but it's very impressive. For me, as having a law enforcement back, it's impressive that a rural Oklahoma sheriff took the initiative to jump in on that and make an emphasis on that. And then also you have a new patrol deputy, which it kind of ties in because. Well, I'll let you explain.
Yeah, man, I appreciate it. When I took over as sheriff, that was one of my main things that I wanted to do was start a task force against fighting these crimes against children. Exploiting our children and the young people, and so we started this task force, and we hooked up with OSBI. and they have this training for internet crimes against children, and we call it ICAT. And so basically, what we've done is we sent a couple of our deputies to this training that works really well. And so basically, what happens is that if anybody is dabbling in child pornography or any kind of exploitation of any kind of juvenile, it's like a missing child or some kind of abuse or any kind of those things. The main thing that what we're seeing right now is the trend of child pornography or child molestation, and when people are on their phones or on their computers, we get a tip from AT&T or Snapchat or whatever platform they're using, and we start investigating that. And just this last month, since January, we have got 10 tips that we have been working on. We've got several that we've put in jail. Some have pled out and went to prison for a long time, and so I'm proud of this. And we're also wanting to move into kind of like Catch a Predator, where we're going to be actually talking to some of these people that are wanting to meet young people, and so that's the next phase of what we're doing. And we're actually being trained on it now to do that, because this is a trend that's going on in our nation, and the craziness that we're hidden away from that in a rural area, and we're not. And you won't be surprised when we start arresting some of these people that they're dabbling in some very disgusting things. Mm-hmm. And so, yes, I'm very, very proud of what we're doing, and they're working very hard, and our DA's office is on board with it and definitely helping us out.
Right. Now, you know me, Sheriff. I'm a actions speak louder than words type guy, okay? You can sit here and tell me you care about kids all day long, but show it. And the next thing we're going to talk about proves, I know it does in my mind, that you do. You notice that, hey, we need to free up some deputies to where we need deputies out patrolling. We also need deputies investigating. So you've made an addition to your fleet out there in the field, and
yes.
So let's talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, man, it's been great. He just got off his training, so he's a new hire, and
so you got a new patrol deputy,
new
correct?
Patrol deputy, yes, and this is going to be because I want to say this is as clear as I can, is that if it wasn't for our commissioners that we have, that we work hand in hand with our commissioners right now, and they're the ones that allowed this to happen. They actually kicked in some funds to help me with this, because if you know budgets, we run a very tight ship, and he has allowed us to have this, and so it's a great addition. So what his job is out there to protect the school zones. He's out there because we got one school zone in the county. The rest are in the cities. But when we get hot calls of hey, we got speeders, we got this going on, he's out there patrolling, slowing people down, looking at semi trucks, and we never know what we're going to get into when we're out there just patrolling. And I think it's a great addition to our office.
Absolutely. Well, and like you had explained to me before, it frees deputies up to do investigation. Well, we need deputies patrolling.
Yes.
But the deputies that are out there doing the investigation. So, hats off to you for recognizing the need for that, and hats off to you and the commissioners for working together to create a solution for that.
Yes.
With that, we're gonna take a quick break, and whenever we get back, we're gonna talk about some things that have been going on since COVID. Yep. I know we did a quick show a couple years ago, and then we've talked about, and then COVID hit. We've just had so many crazy things happen. So whenever we get back, we're gonna talk about that.
Perfect.
Then we'll get to the sales tax.
Perfect.
Stuff.
That sounds good to me.
We'll be right back.
Thank you, guys.
Searching for Medicare plans and health insurance really doesn't need to be confusing. Here at Oklahoma Healthcare Exchange, we understand your needs because this is all we do. Our agents also live and work right here in the Sooner State. When you call us, you'll be connected to a local agent with experience and a desire to make your plan selection experience a pleasant one. To find out why they say we have the best service in the business, I recommend you give us a call at 855-786-8343. You'll thank us later.
Here we are once again. We're here at the Hot Mess Coffee Company
Yes.
in downtown L.A. That's Lindsay, America, on the brick Main Street. Sheriff, the next thing I want to talk to, it's been a hot topic for a while.
Yes.
Is the marijuana grows. I'd like to talk a little bit about the burden that's placed on the local law enforcement.
Yeah. So when this bill came in and everybody started growing, we were saturated just in the state of Oklahoma. At one time, we were at 12,000 grows in the state of Oklahoma.
3 zeros, not 2.
That is correct.
Okay.
That is correct.
In 77 counties.
Yes,
Okay.
12,000.
Yeah.
And that's just ridiculous. And so just the numbers that I got yesterday when I talked to Director OBN yesterday, we have, with the new laws, new regulations, and just putting pressure on some of the grows out there. It's actually dropped down to about 3,700, which is still way more than needs to be in Oklahoma.
So that's an average of about 48 per county.
That is correct. Yeah, and right now we're looking at, in Garvin County, we're still up to about 300. But 99 or 100 of those are active grows. 150, 160 of those are inactive grows, and so those are the ones that we're paying attention to as well. Are they still in business? Are they still producing through an inactive license? And I'm working hand in hand with OBN and OMMA on that on those. The problem is that the sheriffs don't have the authority to do compliance checks.
Okay.
That comes from the state of Oklahoma.
Okay.
And let me put it in perspective. Say we're in this fine establishment right here, and please, the people don't take this wrong. This is a beautiful place. It's clean. But let's say that it wasn't, and I come in and get a coffee, and someone comes up to me and goes, "Hey, man, I think they got roaches." Well, that's not my job. That's the Department of Health.
Right. You have no authority.
Correct.
Okay.
And that's the same thing with the compliance check. I don't have the authority by the law that it's written.
Okay.
OMA has that compliance check goes through OMMA.
So are you telling me the sheriff does nothing with grows?
No, not at all.
Okay.
I'm not telling you at all. I'm just telling you as part of the compliance deal.
Yeah.
Where we come in is, and I'm telling you, we've got a great district attorney here in Garvin County that helps us with this, but we look at it as through Title 63, narcotics, transporting narcotics, possession of those narcotics, trafficking. We're looking at those. So if they're doing things illegal, that's where we come in. But when it comes to compliance checks, I don't have that authority.
Okay, so you don't have the authority, but do you have any? Do you participate in these compliance checks? Or
100%.
Okay,
100%.
So what is it? Why is it? How is it that you end up involved in these compliance checks?
Well, there's several factors. The number one factor is that we get a complaint from a citizen, we go check it out. If we see things that are non-compliant, they don't have their fence up, they don't have this or that, we make a phone call to OMMA or OBN, and they send an agent out, and we go with them. Once we see
OMA, that's the Oklahoma
Medical Marijuana Association.
Okay, and then OBN,
Oklahoma Bureau of Narcotics.
Okay.
And so when we're with them and we see something that's now turned into an illegal operation, we could take authority over that right then. But normally what we do is we work with OBN. They help us with the search warrants, but we are out there help eradicating. If there's any arrests, obviously we house them there. We do a lot of the background there. So I like our relationship that we have with OBN. We have a great relationship with them, and we work hand in hand with them.
So it seems like, from the outside looking in, the sheriff's office is somewhat used as foot soldiers to do all the work on the ground because obviously OMMA doesn't have enough people to do compliance checks on the 300 facilities in Garvin County. So you guys kind of get tasked with that. Sheriff, where does the money come for you? Are you getting money from the state, or you're helping the state agencies? How are you getting reimbursed for all the time that you've sent your foot soldiers out to do this work?
We don't get reimbursed. That's something the burden that the county is taking on.
Okay.
When it comes to compliance check, just like the health department, they send that site or that citation to the owner, and that owner's got to pay for it, and then they come in and get inspected again. That's the same thing that happens with the grows. If they get cited for any kind of discrepancies, it goes to the state. The counties don't get any part of that. Okay. At one time we asked 77 counties, sheriffs asked for some money to help hire a deputy to kind of take those funds off of us, and it got denied in the Senate. So we don't have any, but it's our county, and we're going to absorb that.
Absolutely. Sheriff, which kind of leads me to another question. I'm just out of curiosity. The grows came along long after my time in law enforcement. So, walk me through what resources are you expending when you do these agency assist with OMMA, whenever maybe they're shutting down an operation, or are you sending just a deputy to watch over and secure the scene? Or walk me through that. Paint that picture for me, Sheriff.
Man, and I'm going to open your eyes to a whole bunch of things, and our listeners to a whole bunch of things. So basically what happens is that if we get a grow, we're usually the ones that go out there and get the first intel. So we've got a deputy or two that's going to be doing some surveillance, going to do some background checks on them, see what's going on with it. So that's time. Then we ask OBN to come in and help us. So now we're working together with search warrants, getting our judges to sign the search warrant, not anybody else's, our judges and our local judges to sign it. So that's a resource. Then when we go to eradicate it, now here's the crazy thing is that if we eradicate a grow, it's going to take not only our deputies, but we get involved with the commissioners as well. So now you got another expense because they're bringing out dump trucks, they're bringing out tractors, and we got to find a place to bury it and saturate it in diesel fuel and burn it and get rid of it. And so that's taking a resource again from the county, and the county's not getting reimbursed for that. Now we can send a bill to the person that we eradicated it, but when are you ever going to get that bill?
Well, I've noticed you've sold some of those properties in the sheriff's.
Yes.
So, yeah. So there's these people obviously have no money.
That's correct.
So, you would think there would be a way for you to recoup that, but also, I've noticed there's a lot of fees that these grows are paying in, but I guess I'm assuming that stays with the state.
That's correct. Yeah, none of it comes to the county. None of the grow comes to the county. The only time that we actually, and I don't want to say make any money, so don't use that word, but where we come across recoup anything is based off of a seizure. So say we do find somebody that's trafficking and they got a large amount of money based off of our intel showing that they actually sold it on the black market. We by law are allowed to seize that money and take it to a civil court, and hopefully a judge will rule in our favor. Right. And so we've definitely had that a couple of times. And that's helped us out just a little bit, kind of recouping some of the money and some of the assets that we put in to try to eradicate some of these grows.
Wonderful. Well, and we could spend a whole hour talking about that, and maybe we will circle back around to that. But we're going to take one more break, and then we're going to come back and we're going to talk about what probably most everybody's tuned in to watch. We're going to talk about sales tax to fund a new detention facility.
Perfect.
All right, stay tuned. We'll be right back.
The Sheriff Show is a powerful tool that bridges the gap between law enforcement and our community. As a local advertiser, you will be helping fill that gap. Local advertising helps businesses like yours. increase awareness, attract customers, increase sales, maintain a positive image, and provide measurable results. Let us help you unleash the power of local advertising for your business.
Welcome back here once again. We are hanging out with the girls here at Hot Mess Coffee Company, and I just want to say thanks to those girls for serving us up and taking good care of us while we're here.
Appreciate it.
We're going to talk about the thing that probably most everybody's watching to hear about, and we're going to talk about and it's a word that most people don't like, and admittedly, I don't like it either. And sales tax,
Right.
You know, and the thing about when you pass a tax is what the voter is tasked with is deciding, do we need this or not?
Correct.
And I guess as the sheriff and the chief law enforcement officer of the county, the guy that's tasked with overseeing the jail, you've identified a problem, and now it's time to tell the people why we need this. Golly gee, I'm looking here and I'm going, Sheriff, this jail was built way back in 1974.
That's correct. 50 years old.
Why do we need a new jail?
Yes.
So let's talk a little bit about this. And I guess the technical term now is detention centers.
Yes, yes.
But let's talk a little bit about why we need a new detention
Well, man, I appreciate that. You know, I've been with the sheriff's office. This month will be 21 years. And I started in the jail. And, you know, our jail's a good jail. And we have a good jail. But it's outdated. And, you know, it's getting to a place where we're going to have to either sink some money into or the 50-year-old jail that's being used every day, 365 days, 24 hours a day. You know, and a lot of things that's going on there is just completely outdated. And what I mean by that is that first off, we stay consistently full. There's a lot of legislation out there that's getting these peoples out, and we could talk about on the next time we come together. You know, you got cite and release warrants now that I've never seen before. So
explain that.
So a cite and release warrant is basically if you get arrested and you've pled out and you owe $1,000 and you I say refuse, or you just didn't pay your bill. It used to be that they would issue a warrant and I'd bring you to jail, and you sit in jail. You could work it off or whatever. But now it's called a cite and release. So if I find you not in compliance of paying your bill, I cite you and release you and set you up for a court date. So that's dropped a lot of those that are continually into jail, so you don't get there. However, you know, our jail is just it's older.
So let me paint this picture. Am I correct? You're still, even though we have these new cite and release that warrants that basically prevent people from having to sit in your jail, you're still at capacity.
Yeah, we stay at capacity. We're usually at around 65 to 70. I only have 72 beds. Mm-hmm. This morning when I got there, I think we had 65. So and I like to have a little playroom there so that we could move people in. You never know what's going to be over a weekend, or you know. So I try to leave that, but it's consistently that full all the time. But we have issues, you know. We're still using what we call skeleton keys. You know, the modern technology is you got somebody who's looking at a facility and they hit a button and the door opens. We don't have that. We've got blind spots in our area. The main reason that I would like to have a new detention center, one is the safety for our jail, for the inmates, and also safety for our staff. You know, because there is blind corners and stuff like that in there. Now we have high quality cameras and surveillance system in there, but it's just becoming outdated. And you know, we still have bars. You know, you never even hear of a jail that has bars anymore. You know, we still have bars, and you know, it's just that there's so much that I could go into. I could talk about this for hours, but we don't have programs either. You know, we're wanting to house people and have programs. We just don't have the program because we don't have the space. We don't have a place for a GED. We don't have a lot of places for counseling. We don't have a medical room is small. We've got mental health problems.
Is it still in the little closet area there?
We moved it,
Okay.
but it is in a small room. I've got one little bench and then another small room for the doc. But a mental health is an issue in our state, and we just don't have a place for mental health.
And I didn't realize, but that's something that's even changed since I've been. A lot of that burden is shifted over to the sheriff.
100%.
So yeah, I guess what I'm saying is a lot of the things that this place was designed to accommodate in 1974 is kind of outdated.
Yes, yeah, 100%.
And I want to ask you this: Are you guys still dealing with a lot of plumbing problems?
Yes, that is a major deal. And we've actually had a whole bunch of plumbing come in. A problem is that we did some research, and when they laid the pipe underneath the concrete, it's not up to code, and it's smaller pipes, and so somebody throws their towel in there, or they throw a piece of uniform in there, it gets clogged up, and we're constantly calling because it's just not big enough, and so
I would like to I'd like to go back through the receipts of how much you guys have spent on. I'm not trying to sell this deal for you. I'm completely neutral, but I would like to say it would probably be enough to to build a brand new jail.
Yeah, through the years, it definitely would.
So
we're either going to
have they fixed that problem in your new jail design?
Yes,
okay.
The new jail design is awesome because they've got all the plumbing on the outside of a walkway. So instead of having underneath the detention center, it's actually in a walkway behind the cell, so people just walk around, and all the plumbing is plumbing, all the electricity is there, everything that we need. It's an access, and we never have to stop operation. You never have to pull people out, which is a safety issue to go fix the plumbing. You don't have to do all that anymore. And so there's so much new technology. Here's something else that I really want you to understand, and the people understand, is that we are grandfathered in. Since we have had the same jail since 1974, so we do not meet state standards. Period. We don't meet them. However, we are grandfathered in, so they can't cite us for not meeting the criteria of the new the laws that are set out there. And the new detention center is going to allow the state standards to be adhered to, such as you got to have a common area to eat. We don't have that. They eat in their cell. You got to have natural light. We don't have natural light. I try to get natural light. It's too expensive. We can't get natural light in there. It's a box. You've got to have segregation. We don't have segregation. So I've got somebody who committed a felony in here, and maybe a DUI or a misdemeanor integrated. You got to separate those that are sick. I don't have a medical room so I can separate somebody who's actually sick. Mental issues.
Sheriff, I think for some of the and I know you can't speak about these because of the way the law works, but you just like you said a while ago, your jail is grandfathered in, but it's still not up to code, to standard. That still doesn't prevent people from suing you because your jail is not, quote unquote, up to snuff. So and again, I understand. I'm not going to ask you any questions about those lawsuits, but I've seen some of that, and I look at it and I go, wow, if we just had a new detention center, we wouldn't get all these extra lawsuits,
Yes.
So, and I don't even know the numbers there, but just from the outside looking in, I think maybe that would prevent some of these lawsuits. From a human side, it would make it a more humane place to detain these people.
Yes.
And then from the fiscal side, it would hopefully prevent some of these lawsuits.
100%. And I guess I'm a different type of sheriff, but Robbie, I would like to have a jail that is empty.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
It does.
we're bringing people. That means they're breaking law. They're not doing what they're supposed to do, and and I'm going to bring them to jail. So I, if they break the law, they're going to go. But we don't have any programs that says, any success. We're housing and we're kicking them out. We like to have a detention center that we have some programs that helps them get off their narcotics, helps them with their drug addiction and their alcohol. Maybe even have a place where they get their GED when they walk out, and they become a productive part of society. Isn't that that's what we want?
And I think that's something that people on both sides of the aisle can agree on.
100%. Yeah.
And then that morphs into crime reduction and all sorts of other. So it's a domino effect. But
yes.
But and we could go on and on and
yes.
on about the reasons why I think probably when whether you're for or against a new tax, you could probably agree we need a new detention facility.
Well, let me say this before we go. I know we're running up at time, but so we were going to have the vote this August. While I was out talking to people, they are. I haven't heard anybody against the jail. They just don't like that sales tax, that 1 penny sales tax to last forever. So what we did is that we went back to the drawing board, and we were going to rescind it.
Okay.
And basically what we're doing is we're going to put a sunset clause in there.
Okay.
So what that means is that we're going to look at a number that says, okay, we've got to have a cent sales tax to get it up and running. It's going to cost $24 million to build it. This is good, and it's going to create 14 jobs. So it's going to create revenue for the county. But not only that, but once we pay it off.
How much did you say it would cost to build it?
$24 million.
$24 million. Okay.
$24 million. But if we could get this cent sales tax and pay it off, then that sunset clause will kick in, and we will drop that number down as far as we can to maybe a half-cent sales tax or a quarter-cent sales tax, so that'll be just money to operate. We're not asking to make money. I'm asking just to have enough money to operate.
Just to help.
Yeah. So we did rescind it. We're going to ask for that vote in February.
Okay.
But I'm doing that because I'm listening to our constituents. I'm listening to our people, and a lot of people said we got to have a sunset.
Yeah. I know. Whenever I first talked to you about doing the show, I think you guys were going to do it in August.
Yes, that is correct. Yes.
So you're telling me that you got out and talked to some people, and they said, hey, we need to, and you went back and you said, all right, we're going to fix this. We can do this. Yeah, I like that.
Yep.
Sheriff, where are you going to build it? I think that's a question some people would ask.
Perfect. So we partnership with Pauls Valley, and basically if it's right off of Highway 70 or 77 by the industrial park, between the Armory and the water park and Bemis. They own 30 acres there. We asked for 10 acres. And I've got a letter of intent coming from the city of Pauls Valley to utilize 10 acres right there.
Awesome. So I want to talk a little bit about the process that you went through to decide, okay, we need to use bonds to fund this.
Yeah, so very good question. So $24 million is a lot of money, and obviously we just don't have 24.
You don't have that in your budget?
No,
Okay.
Unfortunately. And so we looked at the best way we could do it. So we're wanting to hire an underwriter. We've got people that are waiting. They like our program. They like what we're putting together. They like our numbers. And they're willing to give us a decent rate for $24 million.
An interest rate.
A great interest rate. Okay. But here's my problem. I did not want it to be assessed to our property values.
Okay.
So I'm opposed to that.
So you're doing sales tax in order to avoid property. And Sheriff, I think the importance of that is if it's a sales tax, we've got I-35 running through. We're going to draw. If we use a sales tax, we draw money from the. Am I correct?
That's 100%. I'd rather have somebody who's traveling to pay for our jail than our citizens pay for our jail. And I know that we're going to go to the store, we're going to buy. But here's something that you guys need to think about. Starting, I think next month or November or October, 4% sales tax or 4.5% sales tax for the groceries drop off.
Right.
So we're losing that.
That was my next question.
Yes.
Okay, so So you know me. I hate taxes.
Yes.
I'm almost an automatic no for every tax.
100%, yes.
And I'm going, you're increasing it by 1 cent. But then I go, now hold on, wait, Sheriff. It's actually about to go down because we're losing grocery taxes,
Yes.
which is what most local people buy locally anyway.
Yes.
Okay.
That's correct.
So that makes sense.
Yeah,
now.
and that's another reason why I wanted to wait until February, let that kick in for a little bit, and then go to the voters. Now, this is something that we've got to have. It's time, and it's going to benefit the county. It's not like we're building an arena somewhere or whatever, but this is something that's going to be it's a beautiful building. It doesn't look like a jail. It looks like a business from the outside. It's beautifully made. And
now, Sheriff, listen, you're saying you want nobody to go to jail.
I didn't say that.
This thing as a vacation palace,
Well,
so we don't want to paint it too pretty.
No. It's still going to be a jail, but it's not going to be an eyesore when you drive by. And I think it's going to be something that the
something we can be
communities-
proud of.
Yeah, something you're going to be proud of. That is correct.
So, talk a little bit about the bond process and how you plan to pay that back.
So if
how that works.
Yes, no, I appreciate it. So if we get to, so there's a twofold. The number one thing is when we put these numbers together, that's not counting any kind of contracts. This is just straight numbers. If we never got a contract, how are we going to pay this back? And we've got to pay it back. So the number is 24 million, and we looked at a 30-year deal. However, the numbers that I worked, if I get these contracts, I've already got BIA asking. I talked to the federal government. They want to get involved. ICE, and no matter what political party that you're on, if Trump gets in, we're going to be busy. He's already stated, and so why not use some of that money from the federal government?
So it's if you build it, they will come.
100%.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah. And so I'm wanting to utilize some of that money. I can't count on that money,
right.
But if I could build on those contracts, I could use that money to help pay that $24 million
So I'm going to
back.
play from Dumb and Dumber. So you're saying there's a chance
that
if we make this, then maybe we can get these contracts, and maybe we don't. And Sheriff, that's brilliant. You built in this sunset clause that, hey, if I get these contracts, then everything, everything, then maybe we're not on the hook.
Correct.
Okay.
That's been my goal from the beginning, and that's why it's taken me all this time to think about it all. Like I said, I met with ICE, I met with the federal government, I met with the Chickasaw Nation, I met with all these people that they're advising me that I can't sign a contract if it's not built.
Yeah, it's not there. That's right. Yeah.
But we will come if you build it.
Yeah.
And so that's. But I can't put that in the proposal because it's money that's not there.
But basically, hey, you're telling the taxpayers, look, we need it anyways. We got to have it. Mm-hmm. We're spending a lot of money on what we've already got, and it's like buying spending money on an old car.
That's correct.
Sometimes you just get to a point where you're spending more money to maintain and repair it than it would be just to buy a new one.
100%.
So,
yep.
Yeah, I mean, I get that, but you're going to the taxpayer and you're saying, hey, look, if we build this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to go out and I'm going to try to secure these. And if I can secure these contracts, I've set it up with this sunset clause to where if I secure these contracts, maybe we can get out from underneath that part of it.
Yes.
Brilliant.
Yes.
So why did you decide to use the 1 cent sales tax, though? Maybe we discussed that. Maybe.
Well, it's the reason I use the 1 cent sales tax is when we did the numbers and we built all of our numbers. It's going to take a 1 cent sales tax to pay back the loan and to get us off the floor for all the operations. Mm-hmm. Once we pay that $24 million back, that's going to drop it down. But again, I did not want to assess that money to our property and our business owners.
So what? With that being said, what are the alternatives to a sales tax? If I'm trying to use the process of elimination, what are my alternatives? What are the sheriff's alternatives?
I don't have any.
That's why I ask you. I can't come up with any alternative Unless you got a $24 million lottery or something
Correct.
like that.
The way I look at it is that if we wanted to buy a house, my wife and I wanted to go buy a house, I don't have $100,000, $200,000 to buy a house. I have to go buy it. However, I don't like to pay the interest rate, and I don't like to pay the mortgage back for 30 years. And so what we would do is we would borrow the money, but I'd pay that extra principal payment and try to knock our 30 years down to 15 years. That's the concept here. Mm-hmm. We got it. We're going to stretch it out to make it as long as we can, but I want to try to get it paid off 12, 13 years and knock that and allow that sunset clause to kick in.
So what? I'm a business owner. What impact is this going to have on your local businesses, if any?
I don't. I think it's going to enhance because it's going to generate 14 more jobs at a good rate. There's so much that we could talk about that we haven't even discussed. We passed a 20-year retirement. We passed to raise up the salary. All that stuff. That money is going to go right back into our community.
Right.
Yeah, and then if we get these contracts, that money is going to go straight back to us.
Okay. And refresh my memory when the vote is.
February. It's going to be the end of February.
You don't remember the exact date?
I don't.
Okay.
I don't. But it's going to be somewhere around the end of February.
So I got to let's go doomsday scenario. What happens if it doesn't pass?
Well, then if it don't pass, then I just go back to the drawing board, and I'll listen to the citizens. I'll listen to what they have to say, and that's what I'm doing now is I'm listening to them speak to me, and then we'll just have to go back to the drawing board and figure out what will be the next step. I did try this before we went to this route. I did try to have an architect come in and revamp ours to try to fit the standards, and we just can't. For the money that we had to spend, I think we were going to gain maybe 10 or 12 beds and spend way more money.
You would have to house your prison, and then you would still have the plumbing issue. Am I correct?
Yes, that's not even counting the plumbing issue. In order to get that plumbing issue, we've got to tear up the whole concrete to fix it. And that's just no way we're going to do that.
That would definitely be a mess.
Yes.
And Sheriff, you've already demonstrated, you're willing to listen to the people. If they have, a concern or maybe an idea or whatever, how can those people reach you?
Man, they can call me at the office at 405-238-7591. My door is always open. If I'm not there, I'll make an appointment. I love to visit with people. I love it. And I like to hear their concerns. Just this last weekend, a gentleman, a business owner, called me and we talked. And I told him, I said, man, I appreciate your honesty. And he was one of the other ones that just said, man, we got to have a sunset. Okay, well then we will scrap this one and we'll go back to the drawing board because that's what I want to do. I want to listen.
Well, and that's great because sometimes. Other people have ideas that you never thought of.
100%, yeah.
And so, but I appreciate that. I know just coming from me, I appreciate that because that's what a public servant's supposed to do.
Yeah.
You're here to represent the people, and if you're going to ask people for $24 million for you to oversee it, for them to trust you with it, then there definitely needs to be some dialogue there, and I appreciate it.
And I'll end with this, and something that we haven't talked about is that the idea is to turn this over to a trust.
Okay.
So, and what that means is that it wouldn't be me solely that's going to be overseeing the jail, but I would turn it over to a trust. So, in other words, I would be on a board, maybe a commissioner, and then get some business owners to be on the board to help run the trust. They will oversee it. They'll see the finances and everything that goes through a trust. And I think that there's a lot of good trust here in Oklahoma. There's some that aren't good, but I'm not taking their examples. I
think it has to do with the person that's leading that trust,
100%.
and I think it needs to be somebody that's willing to listen to the people.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
And we're going to go ahead and wrap things up. There's still a couple things that we can talk about, but we'll hit those next month. And hopefully, good Lord willing, and creeks don't rise, we'll be back again next month, and we'll have some more interesting information.
Yeah.
But in the meantime, folks, like the Sheriff said, if you have any questions, if you have any ideas, comments, give this man a call.
Yeah.
I know I've given him a call on a few things, and we've worked together, and you know, just he's willing to show up and do this show and work with us to try to bridge that gap between the community and law enforcement.
Yes.
And you know, we greatly appreciate that. And with that being said, we're going to close out the first edition of the Sheriff Show with your Sheriff Jim Mullett.
Yes.
Sheriff, appreciate it.
Yes, sir. I
Folks,
appreciate you.
Thanks for tuning in.
Thank you, guys.
Searching for Medicare plans and health insurance really doesn't need to be confusing. Here at Oklahoma Healthcare Exchange, we understand your needs because this is all we do. Our agents also live and work right here in the Sooner State. When you call us, you'll be connected to a local agent with experience and a desire to make your plan selection experience a pleasant one. To find out why they say we have the best service in the business, I recommend you give us a call at 855-786-8343. You'll thank us later.